Chapter 371, Marginal Victory. Tang Wuling smiled as he watched the furious diamond baboon. Now we just need to wait. Lizzie, give Yuan a few pork buns. We need her in top condition as soon as possible. Once she's ready, we'll kill it. Challenging one trial after another without much rest had exhausted them. If not for their luck and their wits, they would never have made it this far. Tang Wuling admired Yue's Hangyu and Yuan Yui's strength. With two flight-capable soulmasters in their team, he could use many more tactics and pull off much more daring plans while maintaining minimal casualties. The diamond baboon roared and kept jumping toward them, only to always fall short. 50 meters was an impossible height for it to reach, and there was nothing it could climb. All it could do was howl at them. The bloodthirst effect on Tang Wuling and Yuan Yui soon dissipated, and their complexions paled with the loss of strength. However, their bodies were strong and they could endure the feeling of weakness. They quickly ate a few pork buns, color returning to their cheeks as they did so. The diamond baboon's howls gradually died down as the crazed look in its eyes retreated and its body shrunk. Before the 10-minute mark was reached, its enraged state seemed to have ended. I'll go first. Yue's Hangyu announced. He extracted himself from the blue-silver grass and unfurled his wings, golden flames bursting into life as he dove down to the baboon. His holy sword manifested in his hand as an ethereal gold light surrounded him. All three of his soul rings were lit, as he constantly switched between his three soul skills. That golden light around his body seemed to have come from his third soul skill. This was an advanced soul skill manipulation technique that required high mechanical skill and powerful soul skills. Yue's Hangyu stopped his descent meters away from the diamond baboon and hovered in place, his figure obscured by the light and flames. Light of judgment. He raised his sword toward the heavens, light gathering around the tip of his sword, lighting the entire hole up like a miniature sun. Soon, the holy sword grew to 10 meters in length. Tang Wuling looked over at Yuan Yui, noticing the shock in her eyes. This was Yue's Hangyu's true power, which he had concealed this entire time. He really had this much strength. Is this what a rich kid does, only choosing to reveal his power at the very end of the tower attack? In that split second, Yue's Hangyu's holy angel was far stronger than Yuan Yui's fallen angel. While having twin martial souls made her stronger overall, individually her martial souls were weaker since she had to spread her efforts between the two. The air trembled as Yue's Hangyu slashed at the diamond baboon and sent it flying backward, golden flames devouring its body. He had combined the power of all three of his soul skills to produce this frightening slash. Yuan Yui chose this moment to attack too, transforming from a fallen angel into a titan giant ape as she fell straight onto the diamond baboon's head. The others dropped after her. There was no suspense in the outcome of the battle anymore. The diamond baboon was still struggling to get up when Yuan Yui arrived, bringing her fists down to smash its head. Yet, a few feet before she struck it, its body twitched and instantly shrunk by a third. Her fists missed and struck the stone floor instead. What? Everyone stood there, stunned. Before they could react, the diamond baboon shot to its feet and headbutted Yuan Yui, sending her flying with a resounding thud. The diamond baboon followed up on its attack, delivering a punch to her stomach. No one had expected the weakened diamond baboon to suddenly unleash such strength. They couldn't comprehend what had just happened. Tang Wuling wanted to rush in to save her, but she was too far away and he wouldn't make it in time. Everything had happened too suddenly. By the time he realized Yuan Yui was under attack, the baboon was already in pursuit. The diamond baboon wasn't injured, its eyes still filled with bloodlust. The entire time it had led them by the nose and luring them into a trap. Its enraged state hadn't ended at all. This wasn't a normal stupid diamond baboon. No, it was intelligent like the one that led the other diamond baboons in an uprising against the titan giant apes long ago. Yuan Yui barely managed to twist her body in time to thrust out her fists to meet the baboon's attack. Inches before the baboon's fist struck her, she disappeared in a burst of silver light. However, the diamond baboon's fist didn't strike empty air. A whirlwind of light collided with its fist. The resultant shockwave shook the room and a blurry projectile shot back, headed towards the wall. A shield of water appeared between the projectile and the wall in an attempt to cushion the impact. The projectile was Shishi. He had done his best to mitigate the force behind the diamond baboon's punch with his light dragon storm, but he was no match for its strength. Shishi, shouted Tang Wuling. Everyone else had recovered from their shock now. Yue's Hangyu flew toward the diamond baboon, brandishing his holy sword once more. The diamond baboon swelled once again as strength surged through its body again, but the bloodlust in its eyes was rapidly fading. Its enraged state was about to end. Yuan Yui attacked it as well, completely forgetting her differences with Yue's Hangyu. With a boom, the diamond baboon was sent backward again. This time, however, its defenses were weaker, and its entire body was engulfed in holy flames. Yuan Yui descended, smashing her fists onto its head, feet firmly planted on the ground now. She followed up with a straight punch, then an uppercut. The diamond baboon was too weak to put up any resistance and could only get pummeled by her. Meanwhile, Tang Wuling rushed to Shishi's side. Gu Yue had teleported Yuan Yui out just as Shishi arrived in front of the diamond baboon's fist. It had taken his all to put up a defense with light dragon storm. Originally, he was going to take the hit for Yuan Yui, but it was impossible for him to receive the attack and come out unscathed. The difference in strength between him and the diamond babon was simply too great. Instead, he planned to push her out of the way at the last minute. However, Gu Yue had teleported Yuan Yui out of the way, foiling his plan to be the white knight saving the princess. Rather, he was even sent flying by the diamond baboon. Tang Wuling's vision reddened with rage. Shishi was an agility type soulmaster. It was fundamentally impossible for him to endure such an attack. Shishi was lucky to not have died from the 5,000-year diamond baboon's attack. Even Yuan Yui in her titan giant ape form would have been gravely injured by the baboon's attack. Not to mention Shishi. Shishi lay prone on the floor, his eyes looking down at his limbs that were twisted in impossible angles. His spine was crushed. Even with the water shield cushioning the impact, his body couldn't survive the attack. Shishi, Shishi. Tang Wuling screamed. He rushed over to pick Shishi up. As Tang Wuling held Shishi in his arms, his friend's crippled body dissipated into specks of light. A moment later there was nothing left in his arms, and a pale-faced figure appeared in the distance. Shishi. Tang Wuling looked up to see Shishi. Not a single hair out of place. Relief flooded him. Shishi's body swayed, then fell onto his butt. He spat out a mouthful of blood, his complexion paling. It was his clone that had taken the attack. Yet even though it was his clone, he still received much of the damage the clone sustained. Fear filled his eyes as he looked toward the diamond baboon. Chapter 372, Heavenly Phoenix Douluo. Yuan Yui continued to pummel the diamond baboon. It weakly tried to defend itself, but the attacks left it too disoriented. The baboon fell to its knees, no strength left to resist. Yuan Yui grabbed its head and twisted it a full 180 degrees. A resounding crack filled the hole. Then the baboon crumpled onto the floor like a puppet with its strings cut. It was dead. Turning back, she saw how pale and frightened Shishi was. An unsettling butterflies upset her stomach. After a moment though, she cooled down and shrunk back down to normal size. Yue's Hangyu touched down beside her, his wings falling back into his back. He furrowed his brow. What a cunning diamond baboon. 12th trial cleared. You may choose to fuse with the diamond baboon spirit soul or continue onward. Yuan Yui strode over to Shishi. He gave her a wide, shaky smile. I'm fine. You don't have to thank me. You don't know me anymore, she said quietly, then turned around and walked over to touch the floating illusory diamond baboon beside the door. The baboon scattered, turning into golden specks of light and gathered around her shoulder. It tried to struggle away from her, unwilling to become her spirit soul, but Yuan Yui didn't care. She sat down and began absorbing it, not taking no as an answer. Tang Wuling sat down behind Shishi and placed his hands on his friend's back, using the mysterious heaven method to help Shishi recover. Although their martial souls were different, their soul power was similar since they both cultivated the same method. Tang Wuling gently sent soul power into Shishi, helping steady his breathing. Color quickly returned to Shishi's face. You're so reckless, grumbled Tang Wuling. Shishi smiled wryly in response. Tang Wuling was the only one who had clearly seen what happened. When Yuan Yui was in danger, he decided to use his purple demon eyes to attack the diamond baboon's mind. It was his only ranged attack, but he didn't know how effective it would be. A side effect of purple demon eyes was improved eyesight, and it was while he was preparing his attack when he saw Shishi rushing with his real body. If it wasn't for the fact that the diamond baboon was weak and slow after its enraged state ended and Tang Wuling had attacked its mind to delay it, then Shishi wouldn't have been able to summon his clone in time. He only had a split second to summon a shadow dragon clone and use shadow dragon storm to defend himself. Even with his purple demon eyes, Tang Wuling hadn't been able to see Shishi use his soul skills. It nearly gave him a heart attack when he thought Shishi had taken the attack with his real body. Shishi truly would have a crippled and mangled body right now if he hadn't managed to summon his clone in time. PFFD. Didn't you also take a hit for Gu Yue? recalling the moment he jumped in to save Yuan and Yui, a magical feeling filled Shishi. He hadn't thought things through at all, throwing himself between her and the baboon without any hesitation. It wasn't until he was staring at death right in the eye that he remembered to use his clones. The only explanation was that dire situation compelled him to move. Fortunately for him, he had benefited from facing this danger and managed to fuse his second and third soul skills in that moment of peril to save his life. Shu Lizzie ran over with some pork buns in hand. Shishi accepted the buns and happily ate them. I almost died. I wouldn't have been able to eat anything anymore. That was way too dangerous. They finally understood just how different the tower attack and the spirit ascension platform were. Any wounds they received here were real. Shishi truly had brushed by death just then. Yuan and Yui sat to one side, quietly fusing with the diamond baboon spirit soul. No one dared disturb her. The 12th trial was their limit. They wouldn't survive against the soul beast on the next floor. The beasts they faced would only got stronger with each trial they cleared. Luckily, they had accomplished their mission. Both Xu Shaoan and Yuan and Yui found a suitable spirit soul. Everyone sat down and began to recover their soul power. 10 minutes later, the door of light disappeared. 2 hours later, beams of light descended on them. When they opened their eyes again, they found themselves in the room they had entered the tower from. Xu Shaoan stood there waiting, beaming when she saw them. To her side was Leng Yaoshu, who smiled warmly and exclaimed, I thought you kids would only make it to the 9th floor, but you actually cleared the 12th. As expected of geniuses from Shrek. Let me tell you, it normally requires a full team of 4 ringed soul masters to clear the 12th trial. Your bravery and wits are truly admirable. If you're interested, the Spirit Pagoda would love to welcome you to join us. We would provide you with the best cultivation resources we have. This won't affect your studies at Shrek Academy either. Everyone looked at each other silently. Tang Wolin was the first to step forward. He shook his head and said, Senior, my apologies. I already belong to an organization. Everyone else tactfully declined as well. No one else wanted to join the Spirit Pagoda, and Gu Yue had already joined them. Amen. That's fine. Here's the bill then. Leng Yaoshu smiled understandingly. Bill? Oh right. We still have to pay for the spirit souls we got in the tower, but they'll be half price. Senior, how much does my ice bear cost? Asked Xu Shaoan. Yours is 10 million federal coins. The diamond baboon is 30 million. That's after the discount. By the way, Tang Wolin gulped. That's already half price. It's still so expensive. If 1,000-year spirit souls are this expensive, then just how much are 10,000-year ones? Wouldn't the price be astronomical? Leng Yaoshu smiled wryly at his reaction. Do you think this is expensive? It's quite normal considering they're both first-rate 1,000-year spirit souls. Actually, all the spirit souls in the tower were carefully gathered and selected by the Spirit Pagoda over hundreds of years. It costs a lot of manpower, resources, and money to replace them each time. What you're paying for them is nothing in comparison. The Spirit Soul Tower was established to help promising young soul masters and forge a relationship with them. If you bought the spirit soul directly, then you would have to pay the full cost to replace it. Don't worry though, you have a month to pay us. Thank you, Senior. They all bowed to her. Leng Yaoshu shook her head. You can escort them out. Then she left. A moment after she was gone, Yue's Heng Yu turned to Gu Yue. Hey Gu Yue, is signaling the Spirit Pagoda's Heavenly Phoenix Douluo? Gu Yue nodded. Leng Yaoshu was a titled Douluo. Her title itself was enough to fill their hearts with awe. They couldn't even begin to imagine how powerful she was. Yue's Heng Yu gulped. Yes, she's a 4-word battle armor master. Apart from Gu Yue, everyone's eyes went wide. After learning about battle armor in class, they understood just what sort of important position and power she occupied. A 4-word battle armor was a supreme existence, their power on a strategic scale, with the might to split the heavens and sun of the earth. Chapter 373. Tens of thousands of years had passed and technology had made several leaps since humanity grasped the power of martial souls. With the advent of tidal Douluos, humans no longer ran from soul beasts with their tails tucked between their legs. The number of soul rings a person possessed reflected the strength of their cultivation. Mankind had advanced to the point where amassing more than 9 soul rings was no longer a dream. Every soul power rank from 90 onward provided a surge in strength. In order to become a tidal Douluo, one needed to break through the threshold of rank 90. After reaching rank 95, they would stand at an even higher peak and possess the powers of a hyper Douluo. Ultimately, a soul power of rank 99 gave rise to a limit Douluo. Only with a limit Douluo could humanity contend with the greatest of soul beasts, for the 2 types of existences stood on equal footing. The first appearance of a limit Douluo marked a turning point in mankind's history, opening the door to humanity's rise as the masters of the continent. Then came the mythical generation in which the Tang sect founder, Thousand Hands Douluo Tang San, was born. With his Tang sect arts and twin martial souls, he surpassed his limits, rose to the summit of the world, and ascended to godhood. He was the sky beyond the sky, but he wasn't the only legendary figure to appear. His 6 companions, which along with him wore the banner of the Shrek 7 monsters first generation, also reached the heavens. To this day, after thousands of years of progress, no subsequent generation of the Shrek 7 monsters surpassed the first. Another turning point for humanity occurred 10,000 years after Tang San's ascension. That was when the spirit Ice Douluo Huo Yuao appeared, bent on reviving the Tang sect. In a time of a declining soul beast population, he created spirit souls in order to ease the tensions between soul beasts and humanity. With spirit souls as the basis, he founded the Spirit Pagoda. From then on, soul technology rapidly progressed and mankind invented all sorts of soul devices and mechas. After a few thousand years, battle armor was introduced to the world. This marked the occasion in which mecha technology could finally transcend the might of soul masters. Battle armor gave a soul master an incredible power boost. With 4-word battle armor equipped, a new title Douluo could match a limit Douluo in might. Although a limit Douluo was the highest form of existence attainable by mortals, aided by battle armor, no soul beast could stand a sliver of a chance. In the end, most of the common soul beasts were wiped out. So, Tang Wolin and the others clearly knew how formidable a 4-word battle armor master was. They could count the number of these powerhouses on the continent on their fingers, the most revered of beings. Rumor had it that the other 2 continents also had their share of 4-word battle armor masters. The residents of the Douluo continent wholeheartedly believed that with their homeland being the birthplace of soul masters, theirs were the greatest. Tang Wolin was already acquainted with a few titled Douluos, his grand teacher, Scarlet Dragon Douluo Chuoshi, his blacksmithing teacher, Blazing Dragon Douluo Feng Wuyu, and the Silver Moon Douluo, Elder Kai. However, according to Wu Zhangkong, none of them were 4-word battle armor masters. There were people at Shrek Academy who were capable of being 4-word battle armor masters, but they were stuck with 3-word armor due to the academy's limited resources, unable to advance to the next level. This was because creating a set of 4-word battle armor was nigh impossible. Yet just a moment ago, Tang Wolin and the others met the youthful-looking Heavenly Phoenix Douluo who was a 4-word battle armor. From that alone, they could piece together the puzzle. Her authority in the Spirit Pagoda must be astonishing. For once, Yuan and Yui reacted to Yue Zhengyu's words. The Heavenly Phoenix Douluo, the vice chairman of the Spirit Pagoda's council. Yue Zhengyu forced out a smile. Who else could she be? I never expected I would be so lucky to meet the Heavenly Phoenix Douluo today. That's 3 lifetimes worth of luck right there. Yearning filled his face, as if he had just met his idol. Tang Wolin glanced at Gu Yue and was met with a smirk. Let's go, said Tang Wolin. They were finished with everything they had set out to do today. It was up to Xu Shaoan and Yuan and Yui to think of a way to pay for their new spirit souls. Tang Wolin, Yuan and Yui called out. He flashed her an amiable smile. You don't need to thank me. We're all working students here, so we should help each other out. I'm not thanking you, she said. I wanted to tell you to pay me my 20,000 contribution points as soon as possible. I need to raise money to pay for my spirit soul. Oh. Tang Wolin's face froze, prompting Gu Yue and Xu Shaoan to burst out laughing. Then his expression soured. 20,000 contribution points. 20,000. I'm never getting into debt again. Never. Damn it. As soon as they arrived back on campus, Tang Wolin made a beeline for his blacksmithing workshop. Being in debt gave him an unbearable, unpleasant itch. He wanted to work it off as soon as possible. Just as he was about to begin forging, a knock sounded on the door. He opened it to find Yue Zhengyu outside. Why are you here? Are you here to watch me work? Oh right, you still need to pay me for the jade silver. I'm sure you saw Yuan and Yui asking me for her money. Tang Wuling said helplessly. Yue Zhengyu smiled. I came here for exactly that reason. I don't have enough contribution points to pay you yet, but I do have federal coins. According to the Academy's exchange rate, it should be 100 federal coins per contribution point. She needs federal coins to pay for her spirit soul anyway, so you can just pay her 2 million federal coins. I thought I'd pay you 2 million federal coins as a down payment for the jade silver, and I'll make up the rest with metals. That should be better for you, right? Sounds good, said Tang Wuling. With the way blacksmiths slowly chipped away at their work, raw metal was far more valuable to Tang Wuling than contribution points. He needed materials to forge battle armor in the future. Since Feng Wuyu was paying for his food now and he didn't have anything to spend points on, he didn't need to hoard points for the time being. With a wealthy customer like Yue Zhengyu lined up, he didn't need to worry about how to obtain spirit items in the future either. He could just forge for Yue Zhengyu in exchange for what he needed. Lately, forging jade silver had been on the top of his blacksmithing list. It was better to focus on one goal at a time. He would forge other alloys once he was satisfied with his jade silver. His current success rate for alloy forging was 30%, which amounted to 7 out of 10 forgings being trash. Of the successes, most barely reached a 60% harmony rate. He had only forged 2 pieces with over a 90% harmony rate so far, and he had given both to Yue Zhengyu. As for the low harmony rate pieces, he just kept them to himself. There were over a dozen pieces he saved to spirit refine them properly in the future. The value of spirit alloys and spirit refined metals were pretty close, but a spirit refined alloy was on an entirely different level. Everyone yearned to use such metal and the price was exponentially higher. For this reason, Tang Wuling wasn't too anxious about making money from forging at the moment, patiently waiting to reap greater rewards down the road instead. There was another reason why he wasn't losing sleep about this. Even though spirit refined alloys might contain impurities, the higher the harmony rate of the alloy, the more chances he had to reforge and perfect it. Yue Zhengyu's scheme was coming to fruition as well. He wasn't in a hurry for Tang Wuling to spirit refine the 90% harmony rate pieces of jade silver. With his current cultivation level, a one-word battle armor was his limit. As such, 1,000 refined metal was sufficient. If he created his one-word battle armor with 1,000 refined jade silver, then he could add another metal to the jade silver in the future, spirit refine it, and directly upgrade his armor to 2-word. Going about his battle armor this way was luxurious. Tang Wuling had been reluctant to comply with Yue Zhengyu's requests at first, but now that he understood what Yue Zhengyu was aiming for, his heart raced as he imagined the possibilities. 2-word battle armor could fuse with its user, whether it was spirit refined metal or a spirit alloy. Both possessed some intelligence and life. Because of this, the longer one was in contact with it, the greater their compatibility rate. Chapter 374, Determination. Investing time to forge good foundational metal was better than forging new metal later on. Tang Wuling understood this. However, forging spirit alloys was no walk in the park, and forging 90% harmony rate pieces was even harder. Every success was birthed upon a mountain of failures. Yue Zhengyu's Holy Angel clan might have the resources to burn, but Tang Wuling didn't. Fortunately, Yue Zhengyu was providing him with raw materials for practice, not to mention he would pay for pieces with a 90% harmony rate or higher. That said, what Tang Wuling truly wanted wasn't money, it was more metal. After blacksmithing for an entire afternoon, Tang Wuling took a break to meet his friends for dinner. He had worked up an appetite. Wuling, don't push yourself too hard. Concern flashed in Gu Yue's eyes as she took in his exhausted expression. Gu Yue, I came up with an idea recently. Let's call Wisujuo and Luo Dixing after we're done eating so I can tell you guys all at once, said Tang Wuling. Okay, said Gu Yue, nodding. True to his word, Tang Wuling summoned them to his workshop after their meals. Class president, what did you call us for? Luo Dixing was quick to voice this question the moment they gathered. Although Tang Wuling managed to gain some measure of respect from Luo Dixing and Wisujuo, enough to make them behave, there was still a wide distance between them. Both were prodigies with their names etched onto the genius youth's rankings. Their pride made it difficult for them to accept Tang Wuling just yet. At the very least, they didn't acknowledge his strength. So here's the deal. I've got an idea I want to present to you guys. I've been forging metal for a second-grade student who's also preparing to make battle armor, and compared to us, he's going about it in a completely different way. His way seems like it'll lay down a better foundation. If we borrow his method, I think it'll really help us as once we become battle armor masters. Tang Wuling explained Yue Zhengyu's plan. Yue Zhengyu had neither sworn him to secrecy nor was this method feasible for just anyone. It required a skilled blacksmith and a mountain of raw materials. Is that even possible? Luo Dixing was unconvinced. Just how much resources will it take to create a set of one-word battle armor made of spirit alloy? I can't approve of such a method. Wisujuo shook her head. Your alloy forging success rate is low enough, but your chances of producing a piece with a 90% harmony rate is even lower. I'll admit I'm shocked that you can forge spirit alloys, but we'll have to bet on luck if we choose this method. Once we start on our battle armors, there's no going back. Beginning with 90% harmony alloy means using the same material for the entire set. Do you really think you can produce that much? If we go through with this and you can't, then even if we're only short one part, it'll be all for nothing. We won't even be able to graduate like that. She frowned. The sooner we finish our battle armors, the higher our chances of entering the inner court. Are you telling us to all gamble on your forging success rate? Tang Wuling couldn't help but nod at their words, his brow furrowing. It seems I was too eager and didn't think things through. Their criticisms were reasonable. Yue Zhengyu was wealthy enough to take this approach, but they weren't. Let's just stick with our original plan. Yue's nearly done with the hand and forearm armor designs, and I'm ready to start making them the moment she is. I think what Wuling said makes sense. Yue interjected. It'll be challenging to create our armors with alloys, but the rewards will be great if we succeed. It'll be far easier for us to upgrade our armors in the future. Are you telling me you two aren't planning on using spirit alloys for your 2-word battle armor? You'll never become a 3-word battle armor master otherwise. If you have to do it eventually, then why not get a head start? I know it'll be tough for us, but it's worth the risk. I say we do as Wuling suggested. Yue moved to stand by Tang Wuling's side. Wisujuo stared her down coolly. If you want to gamble, then do it yourself. Since we're split on what to do, how should we resolve this? How will our group proceed from here on? Luo Dixing remained silent, but it was clear he agreed with Wisujuo. Tang Wuling patted Yue's shoulder. Forget about it. Let's just go with the original plan. I was letting my imagination get the better of me. Making our armors with alloys would be too expensive, and I'm not confident I could produce that much spirit alloy anyway. No. I want to use alloys for my battle armor, declared Yue. Tang Wuling was taken aback by her stubbornness. Then warmth filled his heart. He understood that this was her way of supporting him. Wisujuo's expression blackened. So are you saying we should disband? Yue snorted. If you want to disband, then we'll disband. You two didn't like us from the beginning anyway. Wisujuo sneered. Fine, we're disbanding. Just remember that this is what you wanted. Don't regret this later. Let's see how you make your battle armor with just you two. With this said, she turned around to leave. Before Tang Wuling could call out to her, Yue stopped him with a tug of his sleeve. However, Luo Dixing ran in front of Wisujuo, barring her from leaving. You're all so impulsive. This is no good for any of us. We were put in a group together by the Academy to make mechas or battle armor as a test. How do you think we'll be evaluated if our group breaks up? It'll crush out chances of getting into the inner court. Everyone, just take a moment to calm down. How about this? I'll continue with the original plan with Wisujuo. You two will forge and design as was planned. But on my side, I'm not skilled enough to work with spirit alloys, so you'll have to find another maker. Wisujuo looked like she swallowed a lemon. She didn't leave, but she didn't say anything either. Staring Luo Dixing in the eye for a moment, Tang Wuling gestured his approval. All right. We'll do that then. I'll first grade 1,000 refine your metals and Yue will finish the designs for your armor. As for our own armor sets, we'll find someone good enough to make them. Luo Dixing smiled. It's settled then. Let's end things here today. Give me a call when the designs are finished so I can start as soon as possible. After watching Wisujuo and Luo Dixing's figures disappear into the distance, Yue turned to Tang Wuling with fury. Why did you agree to that? That Luo Dixing is no good. He's just taking advantage of us now. We're forging and designing for them, but they're not doing anything for us. Tang Wuling gave her a reassuring smile. Just because I didn't fight back doesn't mean I don't understand what's going on. First grade 1,000 refining is as easy as cake for me now, and designing for them will also serve as valuable practice for you. Luo Dixing was right about us being a group. Even if we have conflicting views, we have to do our best to work together. Don't forget we're the leaders of the class. We can't let the other students see us fighting with each other. Chapter 375. have eyes. Gu Yue snorted, indignant about their situation. Tang Wuling pressed his lips into a meek smile. They think it's impossible for us, so we'll just have to show them. Gu Yue, we'll still use magic silver in your armor, but heavy silver isn't suitable for you. That means no jade silver either. I think essence gold would be a better alternative. Magic silver and essence gold can be forged together into spirit gold, an alloy with great elemental amplification properties. Okay, I'll just listen to you. Gu Yue said immediately. What about you then? What are you going to use? For me, I'll still try my hand with heavy silver as the base since I'm so familiar with it. It's also very dense, perfect for a foundational metal. Then I'll add star iron to form star silver. He rubbed his chin. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Star silver is really strong, has good soul power amplification properties, and can give way to so many possibilities when I add more metals to it in the future. My bloodline might be special, but I can't rely on just it. I have to think about how to grow my blue silver grass as well, so star silver is the most suitable metal for me right now. The two alloys are about as hard to forge as jade silver. Well, actually, your spirit gold is a tad bit more difficult, but I think I'll be able to pull it off. As for how high the harmony rate will be, that'll be up to luck. It's settled then. Since you already have heavy silver and magic silver, I'll go get some star iron and essence gold for you, said Gu Yue. You will? Tang Wuling stared at her in astonishment. Star iron and essence gold were far more valuable than heavy silver or magic silver. The only reason he had decided on these alloys was because Yue's Hengyu was providing him with heavy silver and magic silver. Gu Yue had never talked about her family before and always lived a simple life, seldom indulging in any luxuries. He always thought his situation was similar to his own. Where are you going to get all that money from? Tang Wuling asked. You don't have to worry about it. Just focus on forging. I'll handle the metal. We have lots of metal at the Spirit Pagoda, you know? And on the Vice Chairman's director cycle. Don't force yourself. We can work on it together, and if worst comes to worst, I can just sell some of my alloys to get the funds necessary. They should fetch quite a sum if I do. It's fine. I can handle this, said Gu Yue. Her determination moved him, bright like a flame. Let's tell Xiaoan and Shishi about this when we get back. We'll let them practice with their group first, then once they're more skilled, we can help them make a one-word armor as well. Okay. I'll head back first, said Gu Yue. There's a lot I have to change in the designs now that we're going to use spirit alloys. The original circuit core isn't suitable anymore. I'll need to think about this. Wei Sijuo and Luo Gixing's concerns had made sense. If Tang Wuling couldn't guarantee high harmony rate alloys, then it was too risky for them to make their one-word battle armor with alloys. This was also why Tang Wuling agreed to find another maker. Since those two weren't making their battle armor now, he had to find someone else to fill the gap. As for who, he had no clue. He had originally been uncertain about this plan, but Wei Sijuo and Luo Gixing's attitude toward him and Gu Yue helped him steel his resolve. Everyone had their own pride and Tang Wuling was no exception. He convinced himself that he could prevail through his efforts. Although his martial soul was the trashy blue silver grass and his gold light had been a defective spirit soul, through sheer perseverance, he grew stronger. Now he was the class president of Shrek Academy's first grade. Even gold light evolved to become gold storm. Compared to everything that he had been through, this challenge was nothing. A speck at the bottom of his shoe. No matter what obstacles came his way, he'd face them one step at a time. A cool evening breeze greeted Gu Yue once she stepped outside. She frequently left campus for the Spirit Pagoda to handle her personal affairs. Not long after she passed through the gates, a glossy black SUV pulled up in front of her. A tall man got out of the driver's seat and walked over to open the door for her. If Tang Wuling were present, he would have been shocked. It would have been the most luxurious soul car he had ever laid eyes on. Gu Yue entered the vehicle. The interior flaunted red leather seats and tanned wood covers accented by shiny metal linings and gems. She took her seat calmly. Prepare 10 tons of essence gold and star silver for me. Yes, young miss, answered the driver. Let's get going to the Spirit Pagoda then. Understood. The black SUV pulled onto the road and sped off. Despite how fast the vehicle was going, Gu Yue didn't experience a single bump or hear anything from outside. She relaxed into the soft leather seats, leaning against the window as she watched cars zoom by. As she stared out at the world, her eyes gradually lost focus. A while later, the SUV rolled to a stop in front of the Spirit Pagoda headquarters. Once again, the driver got off to open the door for Gu Yue, a hand hovering protectively over her head as she got disembarked. As Gu Yue headed toward the Spirit Pagoda headquarters, the driver returned to the vehicle and drove off into the darkness. Gu Yue made straight for the elevator and up to Leng Yaoshu's office. Oh, you're here. Leng Yaoshu smiled in greeting. Your mum just called me and asked how you were doing. She's really worried about you, you know. Gu Yue laughed. What's there to be worried about? With you around, who would dare harm me? The corner of Leng Yaoshu's mouth quirked up a bit, but it wasn't quite a smile. Yue, I found out about your little secret now. What secret? Gu Yue asked suspiciously. Leng Yaoshu smirked. Your eyes. My eyes. Her confusion was evident by her creased brows. There's something different about your eyes when you look at Tang Wuling. You weren't looking at him like he was just anybody. So, you've got something going on with him. I don't. I've looked into Tang Wuling's background. He obtained a defective spirit soul from us in the past, yet he was still able to make it into Shrek Academy. Unbelievable. Gu Yue's expression darkened. You investigated him. Leng Yaoshu chuckled. Of course I investigated the person our little princess is interested in, but you don't have to worry. We won't interfere with your life. If you really do like him, then that's that. As a student at Shrek, he's got the qualifications to be with you. Your family is really open-minded too, so they won't act all melodramatic about it. Just don't forget that you're only 13 years old. It's too early for you to be thinking about this kind of stuff. If you're serious about wanting to date him, then at least wait a few years until you two are both more mature. Gu Yue blushed, blurting out in a fluster. No way. Stop talking such nonsense. Teacher, we're just classmates and nothing more. MHM. Sure. If that's what you want to call it, Leng Yaoshu said with an eyebrow raised. That Tang Wuling's quite a catch though. He might not be very powerful right now, but he shows great potential. I watched his battle with the demon lizard dragon, and was shocked when he completely suppressed it with his aura and killed it in one hit. You guys wouldn't have made it to the 12th floor if not for him. If my guess is right, he has a draconic bloodline. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's definitely inclined towards pure strength. Although the demon lizard dragon is a land dragon, its draconic blood is quite strong. The fact that he could suppress it shows how formidable his bloodline is. Though, it's a pity about his martial soul. A strong bloodline won't be enough to make up for that. Are you sure he doesn't have twin martial souls? Gu Yue frowned. I'm not sure either. His body situation is special. High's bloodline can produce a golden ring, but I'm absolutely certain it's not an actual soul ring. The aura is completely different. He's able to use that power even without a single drop of soul power in his body. Let's just watch for now then. It's really a pity that the Tang sect has already snatched him away, said Leng Yaoshu, sighing. Otherwise, I definitely have recruited him. Those other kids are quite something as well. They may not be as talented as you, but they can still be considered geniuses. Well, that's to be expected from Shrek. Let's begin, Gu Yue said. MN. Leng Yaoshu waved her hand and a metal door on the side of the room opened. Chapter 376. Reunion with His England. Gu Yue took the lead walking toward the door. Behind her followed Leng Yaoshu. Yue, your cultivation is coming along nicely and your design skills are improving quickly. Shall I help you start a one-word battle armor? I can get it done for you within half a year. Considering your design skills, a 3-metal alloy would work out well. You'll be able to upgrade it easily in the future. No, I'm fine. But thank you, teacher. Please allow me to handle my own battle armor. Not batting an eye, Gu Yue refused an offer ordinary soul masters would only dream of. And with that matter settled, the master and disciple pair stepped through the door. Tang Wuling returned to his dormitory late in the evening, his muscles as heavy as lead. He flopped onto his bed. After struggling to sit and bend his legs into a pretzel, he let himself drift into meditation. His efforts these past few days paid off. He helped 2 of his friends obtain a new spirit soul, gained valuable combat experience in the process, and settled his path toward creating a one-word battle armor. Gu Yue's support lit the embers of confidence in his soul. He was convinced that as long as he kept persevering, he would one day become a mighty battle armor master. It didn't matter if it took him a little longer than others. There was still plenty of time before the outer court graduation deadline. The path he chose would cause him to endure some difficulties and be pressed for time, but the reward would be worth it in the end. After Gu Yue handed him a staggering amount of star iron and license gold. He was curious over her method of obtaining it. However, he didn't press the issue. Everyone was entitled to their secrets. With the materials gathered and their daring plan ready for execution, gone were Tang Wuling and Gu Yue's free time. Tang Wuling attended classes in the morning and forged in the afternoon. Under Feng Wuyu's personal guidance, he made much progress with alloy forging and added spirit gold and star silver to his repertoire. Although his success rate was low, it was steady. As his perception and experience increased, his success rate would naturally follow. Now was the time to forge like his life depended on it, no matter how tedious it was. Feng Wuyu still criticized him as harshly as before, nitpicking every mistake, small or otherwise. Compared with New Chen's, their teaching styles were as different as night and day. Initially, Tang Wuling had been shocked by the difference, but he adapted to his situation and soaked up Feng Wuyu's knowledge and experience. He harbored no resentment toward Feng Wuyu, for he knew that the crazy old man had his best interests at heart. It's been a month since the beginning of the school year, and I'm sure you've all grown quite a bit. We will be holding a competition between the first and second grades in the 4 main professions and combat. Shen Yi announced from behind a lectern, sweeping her gaze through her students. In order to decide on the participants fairly and put forth the best competence, you will be tasked to form your own teams. Then each team will sign up for a competition where the winners will represent our class. Each team may have no more than 7 people and no less than 3. The class council will be representing us for the profession competitions. When forming your teams, keep in mind that for the sake of fairness, the second grades team will have 1 less person than ours. So if our representative team has 3 people, then the second grades team can only have 2. Now, let's begin the process for selecting the representative team. Tang Wuling. Yes, Tang Wuling stood up. Once class is over, record all the teams and submit a report to me. Understood. After class, the entire classroom erupted into chatter. Everyone was tantalized by the possibility of representing their class in a battle against the second grade. It was an opportunity for them to earn extra credit, boosting their chances of entering the unicorn in the future. There wasn't a single person willing to let this chance slip through their hands. Gu Yue nudged Tang Wuling. Who's going to be in our group? Tang Wuling glanced at Wu Sijuo and Luo Gixing. He knew that their best chance was to gather all of the class's greatest talents into one team. In their class, apart from himself and Gu Yue, the 5 most powerful people were Wu Sijuo, Luo Gixing, Yang Niangsha, Zheng Yuren, and Xu Yucheng. Each of the 5 were on the genius youth ranking, so if they formed a 7-man team with him and Gu Yue, their chances of winning over the second grade were high. Within the second grade, Tang Wuling knew of Yuan and Yue and Yue Tengyu. Just thinking about those 2 was enough to make him sweat. The strength Yue Tengyu revealed during the tower attack sent him into a state of awe, and he didn't even want to think about Yuan and Yue with her new diamond baboon spirit soul. Coupled with 4 soul rings, her power undoubtedly reached a frightening new level. Holding back against such opponents meant certain defeat. If they didn't fill the first grades team with the cream of the crop, then even with a 1-man advantage, they'd have to fight tooth and nail for victory. Tang Wuling glanced at his classmates. Wu Sijuo, Luo Gixing, and Yang Niangsha stood beside each other, huddling together as they exchanged some hushed words. It doesn't look like they plan on grouping with us. Gu Yue sneered. Lately, Tang Wuling and Gu Yue felt ostracized by their classmates under the lead of the 5 rankers. This change started after Tang Wuling and Gu Yue chose to make their battle armor from alloys. Since then, they became estranged with Wu Sijuo and Luo Gixing. We'll just make our own group, Tang Wuling said, turning to face him. Gu Yue was astonished to see the confidence burning within his eyes. She liked this look on him best, that determined expression that appeared in the face of challenge. He never backed down, always sweating tears and blood to strive for victory, never cowering from tribulations. Even when all hope seemed lost, he always advanced with sheer willpower, guiding his teammates like a shining beacon. Being shunned by the 5 rankers was but a trifling matter to him. Tang Wuling passed his attention to his other friends. Shishi, Xiaoan, let's form a group. Their individual power wasn't particularly remarkable. However, a team's strength didn't necessarily stem from the sum of its members. Teamwork was just as important. Tang Wuling's team made up for its lack of power with its extraordinary teamwork. As comrades for so many years, they held a deep understanding of each other's strengths and weaknesses. Together they had been through thick and thin. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say they had forged unbreakable bonds. In comparison, the team of rankers were practically strangers with one another, a team in name only. Since that was the case, Tang Wuling was bent on showing everyone their might. He only had eyes for the goal, to become the class representative team. While Tang Wuling's heart burned with resolution, Shen Yi returned to the classroom with 2 people in tow. As soon as he recognized them, Tang Wuling was shocked. A moment later, a smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. Everyone, quiet down, Shen Yi said. The entire class went silent, everyone's attention focusing on Shen Yi. 2 new students will be joining our class today. This here is Yi Xinglin, an assault-type soulmaster. The other one is Xu Lizzie, a food-type soulmaster. Give them a warm round of welcome. Amidst the scattered applause, some whispers could be heard between the students. When did Shrek get so relaxed? Why are they only joining us now? Isn't this strange? Tang Wuling still remembered the beating Yi Xinglin had served him on a silver platter, and he had reunited with Xu Lizzie a few days ago. His smile grew bigger as he recalled Xu Lizzie's tremendous help during the tower attack. If we have him, then, Chapter 377, Genius Youth's Ranking. What's that? The rotund Xu Lizzie immediately became the center of attention, but Tang Wuling's eyes were glued to Yi Xinglin. He was surprised at how much she had changed over the past few years. They were 10 years old the last time they met. 3 years later, Yi Xinglin had blossomed into a beauty. She stood around 160 centimeters tall, her slender figure extended by legs that seemed to go on forever. Like Xu Xiaoan, her looks caused the hearts of all to tremble, drawing everyone's gaze after they had recovered from Xu Lizzie's hulking mass. However, she still had on a serious expression. It was one thing that didn't change since their last meeting. She still regarded everyone else coldly, an invisible barrier forming around her. Since you 2 transferred in late, you can take the empty seats in the back. We're preparing for our match against the second grade right now. You're free to join a team as well. I hope you'll be able to fit in quickly, Shen Yi said. When Xu Lizzie had said he and Yi Xinglin might transfer to the outer court, Tang Wuling was doubtful at first. It seemed like such an improbable situation. Yet here they were. Xu Lizzie and Yi Xinglin were now his classmates. Yi Xinglin had left a deep impression on Tang Wuling. Her Star God sword had reminded him of Wu Zhangkong, and he knew her strength couldn't simply be measured by her cultivation. Shen Yi left, but everyone's eyes were still focused on the 2 newcomers. The majority of the gazers, however, zeroed in on Yi Xinglin. Luo Gixing approached them first, greeting Yi Xinglin with a warm smile. Hi, I'm Luo Gixing. May I ask how many soul rings you have? Yi Xinglin glanced at him before walking toward the back of the classroom, not bothering to say a word. Luo Gixing stood there, stunned. His handsome good looks, gentle smile, and status as someone on the Genius Youth's ranking had never failed to charm anyone before. He had absolute confidence in himself, yet Yi Xinglin didn't even spare him a second glance. Her attitude toward him was frigid as ice. The other students cleared a path as Yi Xinglin strode off. Meanwhile, Tang Wuling ran to Xu Lizzie's side, patting him on the shoulder. We're classmates now, so you should join my team. I really want you. Xu Lizzie hushed him. Can't you be a bit quieter? People are going to misunderstand. Gu Yue couldn't help but giggle as she watched the 2 from the side. After fighting shoulder to shoulder in the tower attack, Tang Wuling trusted Xu Lizzie, and his companions knew Xu Lizzie's strength was more than sufficient to make him a good teammate. Wuling, Xu Lizzie said in a whisper, can you invite Xinglin too? With her personality, she'll just end up all alone if you don't. I can't bear to see her like that. Sure. Tang Wuling held no grudge against her. Their team would gain another cornerstone if she agreed to join. He could only imagine how much stronger she had grown in the last 3 years. Since Yi Xinglin refused Luo Gixing's advances, no one else dared approach her. Among the students in the first grade, Luo Gixing was one of the most respected, more so than Tang Wuling. Everyone wanted to enter the team of a ranking control type soul master like him. Although Tang Wuling was the class president, everyone knew that his martial soul was blue silver brass. Even after he showed some of his power, his classmates placed him below the 5 rankers. Tang Wuling sauntered over to Yi Xinglin. Long time no see. Yi Xinglin glanced at him, her brow wrinkling when she recognized who it was. Who let you drag Lizzie off to the tower attack? You've still got to answer to me for that. Eh? She's still as stubborn as a mule. So, what about it? Gu Yue interjected. She couldn't stand Yi Xinglin's attitude. Yi Xinglin snorted but remained silent. However, Tang Wuling met her cold snub with a warm smile. Yi Xinglin, you should join my team. The competition this time requires teams consisting a minimum of 3 people to participate, so it's impossible with just you and Lizzie. I just won't participate then. Yi Xinglin glared at him. Okay. Tell me then, why are you cultivating? Yi Xinglin was surprised he didn't press the issue but instead posed such a question. To become strong. She answered. Oh, I see. Well, our opponents will be in the second grade. There are some powerful people in their class. Don't you want to spar with them? Powerful people? Yi Xinglin's cheek twitched. Tang Wulin's smile grew bigger at her show of interest. How about you try battling them? How else will you know if they really are strong or not? Even the most boring things have value in doing. Join my team and you'll have a chance to fight them. The class president sure is confident. Huh? Someone interjected from the side. Tang Wulin turned to see Zheng Yuren looking at him dismissively. Indeed, it was Jade Snake Zheng Yuren, the poison-wielding ranker. Confidence is important for soul masters to have. Tang Wulin smiled wryly at her. Oh my. Then let's see you defeat everyone in our class and battle the second grade's representatives. She pointed at him. Our team isn't too powerful either. We just have Wu Sijuo, Luo Gixing, Xu Yicheng, Yang Niangsha, and me. But we don't need any deadweight. Just us 5 on the genius youth's ranking will be enough to win. Tang Wulin frowned. He cast his stare at the direction of the rankers, and sure enough, Wu Sijuo, Luo Gixing, Xu Yicheng, and Yang Niangsha stood together. Wu Sijuo was expressionless while Luo Gixing wore his usual half smile. Yang Niangsha waved at him with an amiable expression. Those 5 are joining hands. Tang Wulin's frown deepened. He understood that they were targeting him. All 5 were rankers and had the strength to match. Yet he became class president without fully displaying his power. It was natural that they held no respect for him. All right, then. Bring it on. Genius youth's ranking. What's that? Yi Xinglin asked Zheng Yuren. Zheng Yuren was stunned. You don't even know what the Genius Youth ranking is. It's one of the minor rankings under the Continental ranking. It's a list of the top 30 young soul masters, and the 5 of us are on it. Pride filled her eyes as she proclaimed her status. Her sense of pride was rightly so, as she was able to climb into such a prestigious role. Yi Xinglin shook her head. Never heard of it. I only know of the Continental ranking. I guess you 5 are all right since you made it onto that ranking though. Yi Xinglin's change of attitude took Tang Wuling by surprise. Huh. So she does have a cute side to her. Zheng Yuren sneered. Fine. If we meet in the arena, I'll show you just what it means for someone to be on the Genius Youth's ranking. She turned to Tang Wuling and smiled with narrowed eyes. Class president. Good luck. Really though, what meaning is there in you being the class president? Tang Wuling maintained a warm smile as he raised a hand to stop Gu Yue from speaking out. Zheng Yuren flipped around and brushed past them. There had been some stragglers nearby, but after Zheng Yuren's last remark, they all shifted further from Tang Wuling. So the 5 of them were working together to shun us. To shun me. Tang Wuling had never expected the situation to get this far, but now, he began to understand where he had gone wrong. It was his fault for not forming connections with his classmates after becoming class president, always too busy cultivating or blacksmithing. He had neglected to socialize. This served to compound their lukewarm opinion of him. Debating over their battle armor plans with Wu Sijuo, Luo Gixing kindled their bad ill against him, ultimately leading to the current situation. Luo Gixing approached him. Class president, I've discussed things with Wu Sijuo and have come to a conclusion. Since we can't help you as a maker or mechanic, then it's not right for you forge for us. I have spoken to the teachers today and received approval to split up our group. Sorry for inconveniencing you. Now he's turning his back on me, breaking up the class council group. Fine. Tang Wuling said quietly, almost in a whisper. Luo Gixing kept his eyes trained on Tang Wuling. Class president, the future is long. Tang Wuling smiled once more. You're right. The future is long. Chapter 378, New Companions. Did they plan this? She was fuming. They're just taking advantage of this competition to single you out. I bet they knew about the match a long time ago. It's fine. Tang Wuling shook his head, then turned to Yi Xingling. As you just saw, I'm being shunned by our classmates right now. He made to return to his seat. Wait a second, she called out. Huh? Tang Wuling stopped in his tracks, turning back to face her. Knowing the situation, he thought that no reasonable person would want to join his team. Yi Xingling single-handedly shattered his expectations. She rose from her seat and looked him straight in the eye. Actually, I like being isolated. I'll join you guys. Like an ocean wave, her words swept through the classroom, leaving everyone drenched in shock. She likes being isolated. There are actually people like this. Is she crazy? Unlike the others, Tang Wuling picked up on the unwavering solemnity in her eyes. This girl's got some story to her. All right. Welcome to the team. Tang Wuling offered his hand and Yi Xingling accepted. Xu Lizzie grinned as he watched. Great. This is fantastic. After shaking hands with Yi Xingling, Tang Wuling flipped around, shifting his attention to the spectators in the room. I'm sure everyone was aware of the situation by now, he said, making sure to project his voice. There's this idea floating around that I'm unjustly occupying the position of class president, and to that, I have to say no. I earned this position with my strength. Since some of you don't believe that, use this competition to verify for yourselves. If me and my team aren't selected to represent our class, I will resign from being the class president. Tang Wuling paused to let his words sink in, directing his gaze toward Wu Sijuo, Luo Gixing, Xu Yicheng, Yang Niangsha, and Zheng Yuren. His eyes flickered gold, his pupils narrowing into vertical slits as he stared them down, blood essence surging within his body. But if my team wins, don't you dare provoke me. His declaration struck everyone mute. The crowd parted as he made his way to the front of the classroom, confidence dripping from his body. Report your groups to me here, Tang Wuling said. Luo Gixing was the first to approach him, a faint smile on his lips. Class president, here's my group of 5. The 2 locked gazes. Luo Gixing wore his usual insincere smile, which contrasted with Tang Wuling's serene expression. No one could fathom their thoughts. An explosive aura around the 2, akin to a ticking time bomb, kept the rest of the class holding their tongues. One by one each group signed up, letting slip not a peep in the process. Some looked at Tang Wuling with eyes of contempt. Some sneered, others were indifferent, and some even showed sympathy. However, there was no one who truly saw him for who he was. Luo Gixing's team of 5 rankers was powerful, especially with a top 10 ranker like Wu Sijuo amidst them. On the other hand, the cornerstones of Tang Wuling's group were him and Gu Yue. Compared to them, Xi and Xu Shaoan weren't anything special. Even with the addition of the 2 new students, no one believed they could overcome that golden team. You may all leave now, Tang Wuling said after accomplishing his duty, promptly making for the door. Gu Yue, Xu Shaoan, Xu Lizzie, and Yi Xingling followed him out. The moment the last of their team left the classroom, everyone exploded into chatter. Who does he think he is to provoke the 5 greats? This statement mirrored the majority's thoughts. Yang Niangsha frowned and motioned to Luo Gixing. Why is he so confident? In terms of strength, he should fall a bit short of us. Gu Yue's the one we should be concerned about. Even so, that only makes 2 of them who are worth something. Please. Confidence. It looks to me like he's just bluffing, Zheng Yuren said mockingly. Things have already progressed so far, but he just refuses to admit defeat. Now we just have to come up with the best method to knock him down in the class tournament. Didn't he say he would resign if they're defeated? Let's see if he keeps his word when the time comes. Luo Gixing narrowed his eyes. It wasn't merely coincidence or luck that Tang Wuling became the class president. Strength also played a role. Besides, I'm certain he wouldn't make such a declaration without some basis. He probably knows those 2 new students. I don't think that Yi Xingling is any ordinary person. So what? Wu Sijuo didn't seem one bit concerned. Just me alone is enough to deal with their entire team. Her words rang true. With Hell White Tiger, there was no one in her soul ring level that could stand against her. Not only that, she had 4 soul rings. Because Tang Wuling had just gained his 3rd ring, she barely gave him another thought. Not only did they join hands to target Tang Wuling, they also wished to fight in the match against the second grade. Defeating those stronger than them yielded the most course credit. Unlike how water flows downstream, a team of 5 powerful people would result in a powerful team. The first thing Tang Wuling did after leaving the classroom was pay a visit to the teacher's office, handling the matter of his previous group's division. He didn't explain the situation to them. If he did, it would have come off as him complaining. His pride forbid him from doing that. As soon as he concluded his business in the teacher's office, he led his teammates to his blacksmith's workshop. From start to finish, his expression was nothing less than tranquil. They were isolated from the world once the door shut behind them. Tang Wuling swept his gaze across his teammates and said in a low voice, I'm sorry. I've dragged you all into my troubles. I've been neglecting my responsibilities as class president too much, and that has led to the current situation. Gu Yue frowned. How can you be blamed for that? They were clearly targeting all of us. And so what if they're working together now? What do we have to be afraid of? Tang Wuling smiled wryly at her response. I'm not worried about that. Actually, I brought you all here to discuss the plans Yu and I have for the future. Perhaps you guys will be interested in joining in. I won't lie, there are a few quirks that need to be hammered out, but if we succeed, our future growth will be tremendous. Awakens and Douluo withdrew from our group, so I went to the teacher's office and applied to form a new mega making group with the 6 of us here. But we're not going to make megas. The corners of his lips tilted upward. We're going to make battle armor. Yinglin's eyes went wide at the mention of battle armor. Her gaze firmly fixed on Tang Wuling. Tang Wuling explained his and Douluo's plan regarding the usage of spirit alloys for their one-word battle armor. Shi and Shu Shaoan could only listen passively. Their knowledge on blacksmithing was surface level at best, but from the vibrant way in which Tang Wuling spoke of spirit alloys, they understood that such metal was powerful and challenging to work with. However, Shu Lizzie and Yingling were from the inner court. It was impossible for them not to know how amazing spirit alloy was. Yinglin's expression finally broke from its usual cool indifference. I never expected such ideas from the outer court. Count me in. Tang Wuling faced Shu Lizzie. How about you? Shu Lizzie grinned. Count me in too. Shu Shaoan and Shishi exchanged a look, their expressions grim. Forcing out a bitter smile, Shishi said, Boss, I've been working hard, but I can't advance in my profession in just 1 or 2 days. There's nothing I can do to contribute to this plan. Tang Wuling shook his head. Don't worry about it and take it easy. We still have time. We have 6 years to make a one-word battle armor. This method might require more time than the normal way, but if we're successful, we'll speed through making 2-word battle armors. The normal way won't be able to compare. He turned to Shu Lizzie and Yingling. So, what are your professions? Chapter 379, Divine Alloy. I'm a 4th rank mecha mechanic, said Shu Lizzie. Mecha maker, 4th rank, Yingling stated. Tang Wuling and Douluo rejoiced when they heard the two's professions. A huge grin lit up on his face as he stared at them. You guys are just what we needed. This is fantastic. Shishi, you can help Yingling and learn from her. You'll need to improve if you want to make your own battle armor in the future. Shaoan, you can learn from Douluo. Shu Lizzie looked at him curiously. So you're a blacksmith and Douluo's a designer? Tang Wuling nodded. Yeah, she's a 4th rank designer. Can you really forge alloys? Yingling asked. Although he had filled her in that he was a 5th rank blacksmith, and thus capable of forging alloys, she found it hard to believe. Blacksmiths were the rarest of the 4 main professions due to how much time it took and how difficult it was to advance. As a result, the average age of blacksmiths tended to be much higher than those of other professions in the same rank. Tang Wuling smiled wryly. I understand you're skeptical, so see for yourself. He walked over to the shelf of metals, picked out 2 chunks, then brought it to the forging table. I can only forge 2 metal alloy at the moment, and my success rate is 30%. The metals I'm currently able to forge are jade silver, spirit gold, and star silver. I'll need you guys to decide on an alloy soon. That way, I can start working on it. At the sound of his words, Yingling's eyes lit up. You can forge jade silver. MN. I want jade silver then. She blurted. I'll have star silver, said Shu Lizzie. Clearly, the two had already put much thought into their own battle armor. Great. That saves me some trouble. Also, we might all need to pitch in for the metals, Tang Wuling said. Yingling grunted her affirmation. Receiving the responses he desired, Tang Wuling broke into a smile. All right, 1 jade silver coming right up. A minute later, the 2 metals needed to create the alloy were heated to a glowing red. Tang Wuling summoned his 2 hammers into his hands, both arms swinging at once. He began slamming down into the metal. It's been several days since he started forging alloys, yet his success rate was stuck at a measly 30%. It was a bottleneck restricting him from taking the next step. As Tang Wuling forged, his world shrank until all he could perceive was the glow of the metals. Even the weight of his hammers and the burn of his muscles faded away. Each of his strikes contained new tangible focus as he vented his frustrations. He had been putting up a brave front in the classroom. If he hadn't been affected by the gossip and bullying, he wouldn't have made such a provoking declaration. He was still only 13 years old after all. He was determined to prove himself to his classmates as the legitimate class president. As such, to say that he was itching to battle against the 5 rankers was an understatement. In the event he met defeat by their hands, he would resign as class president. What do you think of the situation? Shen Yi sat on the sofa in the teacher's lounge with one leg crossed over the other, a half smile on her lips. Wu Zhangkong's expression was stern as usual. I think it's best to treat them the way our teacher treated us. Shrek Academy offers a lot of freedom to its student and refuses to suppress their individuality. I do have one concern though. What concern? Shen Yi asked. The match doesn't give Tang Wuling enough pressure. Not enough? Just how great do you think your disciple is? Shen Yi stared in astonishment. She didn't view Tang Wuling's chances at victory in an optimistic light. The team of 5 rankers was just too powerful, especially with Wu Hell White Tiger. No one could stand against it. Douluo may have won against Wu previously, but it was during a time when Wu had been exhausted and unable to use Hell White Tiger. Wu in peak condition was a more frightening foe than any of them could imagine. Moreover, she was supported by Luo Gixing, Xu Yizheng, Yang Niangsha, and Zheng Yuren. In their team of 5, 2 had 4 soul rings. This was one of the most powerful teams to appear in recent Shrek Academy history. Yet Wu Zhangkong didn't believe it yielded enough pressure for Tang Wuling. Let's hold back England from the coming match. We'll let her fight in the match against the 2nd grade. Wu Zhangkong said. Huh? Isn't that too mean? Shen Yi gaped. You don't understand Tang Wuling. He's resolute and patient. Even after teaching him for 3 years, I still can't see his limits. Time after time, he has accomplished the impossible. Yingling came from the inner court, so there's no need to doubt her strength. If we let her help Tang Wuling against the rankers, they'll gain an easy victory. Tang Wuling is like a spring. The more pressure on him, the harder he'll push back. In that respect, Douluo and him are quite similar. Her limits are a mystery to me as well. As for Shishi and Shu Shaoan, they've finally realized how far behind they are after coming here, and are working hard to catch up. What they need now is confidence. The 4 of them plus Shu Lizzie makes exactly 5. It's suitable to have a 5-on-5 battle. Shen Yi remained silent. Suitable. Huh. A humming radiance shot up, glittering like jade. Yingling stood rooted in place, utterly shocked. She hadn't thought much of Tang Wuling beforehand. Her memory of him amounted to a stingy kid, a boy who ran off and left behind an outrageous dinner bill for her and Shu Lizzie. She still held a grudge for that. That said, Yingling also remembered how unyielding he had been in the Spicy Alliance tournament match afterward. Yet what Tang Wuling had just accomplished shattered her previous view of him. He succeeded at forging an alloy. There were few 5th-rank blacksmiths who could forge them due to their lack of spiritual power. Most only started learning how to after becoming a 6th-rank blacksmith skilled at spirit refining. So she was absolutely shocked. From the moment he landed the first strike of his hammer to the last resounding bang, she and Shu Lizzie had been drawn in by his forging tempo, utterly mesmerized. It was their first time witnessing such a sight. In their eyes, it was as though Tang Wuling and the metal had become one. His hammers rose and fell nimbly yet forcefully. His movements flowed like river water. I'm going to appraise its harmony right now. With that said, Tang Wuling took out a small device he had borrowed from the Shrek Blacksmiths Association and placed it on the jade silver. Although he had technically borrowed it, with a wave of Feng Wuyu's hand, that borrowing became long-term. It was practically his now. A moment later, a number appeared on the screen that left him dumbstruck. Peering over his shoulder at it, Douluo was similarly left speechless. Tang Wuling's mouth quivered for a second before he let out a long sigh. Is it low? It looks like he succeeded though. Even a harmony rate in the 60s is good. Shu Lizzie said as he approached the 2, but when he saw the number displayed on the screen, he inhaled sharply. N95. No way. Without a doubt, the number flashing brightly was 95. It was Tang Wuling's greatest piece yet. Yingling rushed over to see for herself. She could hardly believe her eyes when she saw the number. Why did you sigh when the harmony rate is so high? Yingling asked. Tang Wuling smiled bitterly. I sighed because I can't use it. It would have been better if I chose to forge star silver instead. This piece of jade silver is enough for 1 battle armor part. It's mine. Yingling snatched it up and stored it into her storage ring. Well, aren't you shameless? Douluo groaned. Ignoring Douluo's comment, Yingling said to Tang Wuling, I'll pay you for it later. Okay. The corners of Tang Wulin's mouth twitched. He was heartbroken to part with a 95% harmony rate piece. 7 more metals could be added to it in the future to make it a 9-metal alloy. Although at first glance there didn't seem to be much of a difference between 95% and 91%. Among blacksmiths, a 95% alloy was called the foundation of divine alloy. 2 metal alloys were known as basic alloys. 3 metal ones were quality alloys. 4 metal was top quality, and 5 metal was holy. But alloys with 5 or more metals were extremely rare. Their value comparable with that of soul refined metal. The greatest alloy in recorded history thus far was an 8-metal alloy. The more metals added, the harder it was to succeed. A 9-metal alloy had yet to be created, though many had tried, including the all 7 of the divine blacksmiths to have appeared in history. To forge a 9-metal alloy was to forge a divine alloy. Such a metal could allow limit Douluos to progress to the next level of strength. But that next level wasn't something to scoff at. That level was godhood. Chapter 380, Divine Foundation Metal. Considering that an alloy with a 95% harmony rate opened a path to godhood, its value was clearly astronomical. The possibility of becoming a divine alloy, no matter how minuscule, was enough to make it one of the most expensive metals in the world. Rarely would blacksmiths sell such a metal. Instead, they would keep it for themselves. Forging alloys and forging regular metals was different. Luck was an important factor. Even a divine blacksmith couldn't guarantee to forge an alloy with a harmony rate 95% or higher. The average harmony rate of their products were just higher. Unknown to Tang Wulin, he had broken yet another record. In the history of blacksmithing, never before had a blacksmith below the 6th rank forge an alloy with 95% harmony rate. Tang Wulin had achieved the impossible as a 5th rank blacksmith and set a new bar. Suddenly, Yu Xinglan spoke up. Don't say I'm taking advantage of you. I'm actually a 5th rank maker. A 5th rank maker. Everyone was stunned, unable to form words. Among the 4 professions, designers progressed the fastest since the profession mainly relied on spiritual power and perception. As long as a designer was sufficient in those 2 aspects, they would reach the 3rd rank. In comparison, it was much harder for makers to advance. It required constant and repetitive practice, and a strong perception was essential as well. After all, without being able to understand the design, the mecha or battle armor they created would only ever be subpar. Yu Xinglan was just 13 years old, nearing 14. She was the same age as the rest of them. Being a 5th rank maker at her age made her a genius. Shishi and Shu Shaoan exchanged a glance, shame coloring their cheeks red. The 2 of them were the lowest ranking professionals in their group. Don't forget, Lizzie is a 4th rank mechanic, Yu Xinglan said. Tang Wulin nodded enthusiastically. This is great. Yu Yue is in charge of the designs, so tell her any specifications you have for your armor. We're going to make our battle armors one part at a time, starting from the right hand. I'll work hard to forge the alloys, but don't expect another 95% alloy. I will guarantee we'll use alloys of at least 90% though. A single successful piece of alloy was enough for one hand armor. After that, the most pressing concern was whether the metal could be successfully transformed into hand armor. Although failure wouldn't turn the metal into scrap, its quality would decline. All right. Yu Xinglan nodded. Contrary to her calm expression, however, her heart was quite disturbed. A 5th rank maker their age was rare, but a 13-year-old 5th rank blacksmith was an impossibility. There was no one within all of Shrek Academy whose blacksmithing talent could compare with Tang Wulin's. She would be able to grow even faster working together with a genius blacksmith like Tang Wulin. Upon this realization, her ill feelings toward him dissipated. Shrek Academy's policies seemed to grant much freedom, but she knew that this was to put even more pressure on the students. Yu Xinglan and Shu Lizzie had moved to the outer court to gain experience and faced greater pressure to improve. If they didn't complete enough achievement, then they couldn't return to the inner court. They had to make a set of battle armor for themselves to do so, and there was no one better to help them than a blacksmith capable of forging alloys. After directing Yu Xinglan and Shu Lizzie to Gu Yue, Tang Wulin continued to forge. With Yue Sengyu providing the materials, he was going to take advantage of this and save the high harmony rate alloys for himself and his companions, while selling the agreed pieces to Yue Sengyu. As for the low harmony rate ones, he would just sell them. Meanwhile, Yu Yue discussed the designs for their armors with everyone else. The entire workshop buzzed with energy as everyone rushed to complete their part in the plan. Tang Wulin's heart gradually calmed as he continued to forge, each reverberating strike of his hammer venting his frustrations at being suppressed by the rankers. Now, more than ever, did he understand that the only way to obtain the respect and acknowledgement of others was through strength. Everything else would follow after obtaining power. He still remembered what his father had told him. In this world, the only one he could rely on and trust was himself. Relying on others would only lead to failure. Only by striving relentlessly and depending on himself could his talent blossom and let him stand tall and proudly before his peers. His pride pushed him to greater heights. His forging improved, and his alloy success rate was higher than ever. He forged into the night until he finally collapsed in exhaustion. He had succeeded in forging 8 pieces of spirit alloy. Among them, one was a spirit gold with a 93% harmony rate. With that, Gu Yue's metal was finished. The remaining 7 ranged from 70 to 80% harmony rate, which was fairly good. Tang Wulin collected them into his storage ring to set them aside for the future. He still needed to obtain the spirit items necessary to break the 4th golden dragon king seal, and these alloys would help. Huh? Tang Wulin stared at Shen Yi in shock, mouth gaping. Why? Teacher Shen, why can't Yu Xinglan participate in the class representative selection tournament? Tang Wulin asked. Tang Wulin's mind went blank the moment Shen Yi had told him Yu Xinglan couldn't participate in the class representative selection tournament. His plans crumbling apart. He had felt pressured to face the 5 rankers, but with Yu Xinglan's help, especially after 3 years of growth, he had been confident of their victory. Although she did not have 4 soul rings yet, her combat power was on par, if not better. Her skillful techniques were still etched into his memory. His original plan was to have Yu Xinglan and himself be the main attack force of their team. That way, they would have a chance against Residuo's Hell White Tiger, but without Yu Xinglan, their chances of victory dropped to next to 0. The disparity between his team and the 5 rankers was too great. Don't ask me why. There is no reason, but your mecha group reassignment has been approved. The condition, of course, is that Yu Xinglan cannot participate in the tournament. Now go back to prepare. You don't have much time. Throughout the rest of his classes, Tang Wulin was lost in a daze with his brow furrowed. The atmosphere in the classroom was charged the moment he stepped in, and the majority of his classmates took care to maintain a distance from his group. He and his friends were being shunned by everyone, even his new companions, Yu Xinglan and Shu Lizzie, were being treated the same way. The addition of Yu Xinglan's combat strength and Shu Lizzie's bonds had given Tang Wulin confidence in their victory, but now Yu Xinglan was no longer allowed to participate. Their odds for victory were laughable without her strength. His mind occupied by this problem, Tang Wulin didn't pay attention in class for the first time since coming to Shrek Academy. Good luck in the tournament, class president. Well, you don't have to worry about it too much. Even if you resign from being the class president, you can still be the blacksmith representative. Luo Gixing said as he approached Tang Wulin after class. Yang Nyangsha followed closely behind Luo Gixing and looked at Tang Wulin with sincere eyes. You're the most suitable person to be the blacksmith representative. Please don't force yourself. What do you mean force himself? He's just overestimating himself. Zenya and Cardin as she walked by, not even bothering to look back as she left. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.